The 9 Years podcast is brought to you in association with Season Master and the Window Workshop. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest edition of the 9 Years podcast. Thank you very much for downloading the show this week. We are rolling, headed to the playoffs. Like to listeners that listened to last week's show, like we told you we would be. I am Nick Draper. I'm joined as always by the face of the BBC Sport website, Mr. Stuart Deacons. We are going to be previewing the trip to Notts County for the first leg on Saturday. We're going to be reviewing that 1-0 win at Grimsby last week. My father was John Joe O'Toole maker as well, of course, and a few other bits and pieces around the club, including, Stu, a survey that has been sent out to Don's Trust members about kickoff times. Kickoff times moved for Sky TV and, in one instance at least, ITV. It's apt because this first leg at Notts County is an 8 p.m. Saturday kickoff time. This is absurd and obscene and all other words you would like to use to describe this. 8 p.m. on a Saturday is nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Never known anything like it. Obviously, I'm not going in protest at the stupid kickoff time. And I cannot believe, really, that anyone outside of fans of the two clubs will be watching it on a Saturday evening. Surely there are 1,000,001 better things they could be doing with their lives.
Do you know what? Hey, look, playoffs are different. I get with the kicker. The surveys are two different things, aren't they? So the survey is about games being changed to late notice, and there's supposed to be a 4-week window, and Sky was supposed to give adequate time. That didn't really happen towards the end of the season because naturally they want to pick the games that are going to be either relegation or promotion. Playoffs to me are different. The players have always been this way, and I can't be hypocritical. I love the playoffs. I love the fact that I can watch every game. Once we record this, I'm going to be watching the rest of the Coventry versus Sunderland, which is a Friday night. I think at 7:45, or was it 8 o'clock? Probably 8 o'clock kickoff, I think. So they've always been that way, the playoffs. And I think they're watched well because everyone loves a playoff, unless your team's involved in it, and then it becomes a little bit of a nerve-wracking thing of it. But yeah, Saturday. Hey, look, we've got the short straw. Saturday away at 8 o'clock in Nottingham with a week's notice, and no trains. I think the last train is 10 o'clock, I believe. So people having to travel by coach, car. But we sold the tickets, haven't we? Do you know what I mean? So there's obviously an interest for it, but it's set. Playoffs are set for TV sometimes rather than set for fans.
That's absolutely true. It's completely set for the television audience. And before I just respond to a couple of your points there, Stu, just a couple of things. If listeners can hear any screaming children in the background, don't worry. Neither Stu nor I are attacking or in any way violating any children. Okay. I think there's just some noise from the street outside. Is that right, Stu?
Well, I don't live on a street, unfortunately. My little cul-de-sac.
Sorry. Yes.
Little cul-de-sac here has got a grass green. Yeah, green grass, whatever. It's got grass. And some kids are enjoying the summer weather playing some football. My son is asleep, thank goodness, so he is not out there for me having to worry about.
Cul-de-sacs always remind me of Josh Parker, who played for us for a little while in the conference. The other random thing I've got to say to you and to listeners, I'm so tired. My working weeks at the moment are absurd. And I don't even know how many hours I've worked this week. I am so tired. I've made a cup of tea to have whilst we are recording. Oh, my words, Stu, it's the best cup of tea I've ever had in my life. Okay, so anyone listening to this is listening to history. In my 31 years on this planet, this is the best cup of tea that I have ever had in my life at this moment in time. Back to kickoff times.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the lunacy of it, because I don't actually think this was originally scheduled for us, was it? It was meant to be a Sunday. an early evening on a Sunday kickoff, I believe. I think had to move because Nottingham Forest are on TV
That's right.
on
Yeah,
Sunday. I can't remember who Forest are playing off the top of my head, but for some,
Leicester.
oh my good Lord. Okay, so Sky have put Nottingham Forest on versus Leicester on a Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because of Sky. No, it will be Sky because there's normally Sunday games because of European competition, isn't there?
Hmm.
So I think there's 4 fixtures on Sunday. But you're right, Nottingham Forest will be the live game because neither of them were involved in Europe. So yeah,
Yes. So Sky, despite having, I'm guessing Spurs, Chelsea, and Manchester United, who were all in Europe on Thursday, all then playing on the Sunday automatically, Sky didn't think, oh, we'll just televise one of their games. No, we're going to pick another club, another two clubs, move them to a Sunday for an audience that doesn't exist. And then that means we can't put Notts County versus Wimbledon on Sunday because Nottingham Forest are at home. So we have to move it to the Saturday. And we can't move it any earlier on the Saturday because they've got someone Bournemouth versus Villa, maybe. I mean,
yeah. I'm not sure. I think obviously because there was some confusion. There was some confusion after the game. Obviously after our win against Grimsby, there was 2 different times that were released, I believe, on the Saturday. So I think initially it was we were going to be a Sunday. Then people quickly worked out that it was going to be moved because Nottingham Forest were at home, and I think there was an earlier, a later on Saturday, and it was moved to 12:30. So there was some confusion. I think it's just obviously around the playoffs. Everything's done so quickly. Like we're going to come on to it a bit later, but we Notts County have had to arrange a fixture within a week. We've had to arrange a home fixture within 2 weeks. And on top of that, we've had to arrange for just under 2,000 tickets to be sold in that time. So playoffs are just chaos.
it does feel like to me it was easier in the old days. So I don't know how long it's been, Stu, since I've had a rant about modern life.
In the days before the war.
Before the internet ruined everything, things were so much easier. And I was making this point on Nazi Twitter earlier this week when I, many years ago, went to watch Fulham versus Grimsby in what would have at the time been a third tier playoff game. And it was very straightforward back in those days. None of the games were on TV. So it was Saturday afternoon for leg one, the following midweek for leg two. And before we had all-seater stadiums at Craven Cottage, you just rocked up, paid your money, and went into the stadium. No hassle, no stress, no stress, and watched a great game of football. Well, I say great. I mean, I don't know how old I was at the time, but every football match when you're young is an experience that whether it's a great game or a terrible game, you always remember them, don't you?
Yeah.
Because you love the atmosphere around it. You love the whole thing around it. I found highlights of it on YouTube, and there were many things I liked about that particular fixture. I think it was about 1998. I think it was no squad numbers. No need for squad numbers, really, Stu. Everything in football is a money-making con. Squad numbers are the worst of all. How random do I want my rant to go this week? You can tell I'm tired. Trent Alexander-Arnold has left Liverpool apparently, and he's being accused of being greedy and whatever. But this was a player that was already being paid, I don't know how many millions of pounds a year. He has 66 on his back. Like, and they're saying, oh, he used to be like a good, honest, humble Liverpool lad. I'm thinking, well, good, honest, humble lad with 66 on his back. I think he's a narcissistic dickhead. But hey, that's just me. Like, why? We don't even need squad numbers. They're literally just a way to make money. They are, because you get the extra money from putting a name on the back of your shirt every time you sell one. You go to all the big clubs and they have them pre-prepared with names and numbers on the back of them. It's a con. We don't need them. And the other thing, no blooming giant screens or digital advertising or anything like that. No VAR, just terraces, proper game, muddy pitch, happy days. Anyway.
Are you still whinging?
Oh,
But don't
I
think.
was born in the wrong era, Stu. I
But
think I really was.
let's not cloud the fact that terracing was better because we all had offences. I started going with Wimbledon when my face was up against a fence, so things had got better a little bit. But football's about money. Yeah, Trent Alexander Arnold makes me crack up. Liverpool fans calling him a traitor. They got him for nothing. I'm sure they've never purchased a player from another team on a free transfer. I'm sure they've never done that, and
Nope.
yeah, it's just. Hey, look, do you know what? He's got I think he's got a 6 or 7 year deal at a club in Madrid. Good luck to him. it's all about personal. But yeah, it's been a little bit like, you sometimes think people are a little bit OTT, burning his top and stuff on social. It's like, get over it. Do you know what I mean? It's just a game.
Football has completely lost touch with any remnants of reality at the
I
top
think
level.
fans have as well, though,
and,
with it as well.
Yes, and fans have, absolutely.
Do you remember the story I was telling you when during COVID, when obviously everything was closed, and I remember listening to Talk Sport on the radio on the way to work, and someone was going, Villa have got to spend at least 50 or 60 million quid. I'm like, we've just closed the economy down.
Yes.
I remember just thinking to myself, there is no context in football. Football still moves, but I think I just suddenly thought, are you aware of how much money? But it's like we lose in the Premier League. It's nothing for fans going, we should spend £50 million on a right back.
Yeah.
Whereas we know in our football club that would probably provide a wage bill for about 25 years.
It would probably pay for quite a few teachers to reduce workload on them and reduce stress and reduce turnover. Anyway, all these things, yes, football does live. And as you say, too, fans live in a complete alternate reality. And the other thing about Alexander-Arnold leaving, they were saying, well, we could have got 100 million for him. And I was just thinking, do you know what? I think you're going to be okay. I think financially you will get through this hardship of not getting a transfer fee. Anyway, where were we? Grimsby?
Yes, Grimsby. Done. Job done.
I'm not one to say. Do you know what?
You did so.
Do you know what? Yeah, everyone says I hate to say it. No, I don't hate to say it. Told you so. I was right. I told you all along. Don't panic. And the game played out exactly as I thought it would do, which was Grimsby just did not have enough quality to break us down. With one exception, they put one cracking cross in, which was it Rose, the one that should have headed it.
Yeah,
that was a hell of a chance. But hey, you always get every team in every game of football always gets one chance, no matter how well or how dominant you be. You always get one chance. But after that second half played out, I think exactly as I expected it to. We just sat back. They couldn't break us down. We pressed a little bit higher. But it helped us because Grimsby, I mean, the moment I knew we were through was actually the moment they kicked off the second half. I don't know if you remember, but they kicked off the second half. They did not play the ball back to the centre half. They did not play the ball back to a deep line midfielder or a goalkeeper. They passed it the shortest possible distance they could, and they were straight on the front foot trying to attack us because they needed to win.
Yeah.
And that played into our hands. And I think really 10, 15 minutes of the second half dominated. We got our goal, and that was game over. And then the half an hour of the game left, we just ceded possession, but we knew we were under no threat whatsoever.
Yeah, it was interesting actually because obviously we looked at the stats and the stats said that Grimsby had a worse home form than they do away form, and we have the best defensive record in the league. So you sort of looked at it and went, if we quieten them down a little bit, and I thought, do you know what? I thought we started off a bit nervy. There's a couple of things. I think Joe Lewis gave away an English corner, trying to pass it back to Owen Goodman, and there was a few for what looked to me like some nervy moments. And you expect that because the game was massive for us. I felt it was more bigger for us than it was Grimsby. I think Grimsby felt it was an outside chance where we'd been in there all season. We didn't want to muck up at the last hurdle. I'm not sure. I don't think you've had a chance to see it, but there's a second episode of the fan-owned series has come out.
No, I haven't had a chance.
And it has footage from Grimsby, pre-match and post-match. It's really interesting. Cameras in. I have to say, it's an excellent episode. A lot more reactional sort of stuff. So more interviews, more stuff behind the scenes than actual footage on that side of it. But there's one thing that struck me was Terry Skiverton's half-time talk with Grimsby was very much what we've gone on before about it's always 0-0. But he got into them and said, we've been here before, we've played well in the first half, we've not delivered second half. We've got to go. Yeah, he really drilled into them, and you could sort of see the impact of him saying that and a team coming out and being on that front foot. And you're right, we started that second half on fire, and Grimsby delivered us. That was a second half that we've been producing probably early in the season. It was amazing. We could play a 5-yard pass to somebody. We could knock a ball into Addison Smith and he could turn and pass it. All the things that we should be able to do, we know we can do. which we haven't done. We haven't really. If you look at games, when have we actually killed games off in momentum? But the Grimsby game, we did that. Once we scored the goal, we kept the ball rather than knocking it all the channel balls and diagonal balls, and we did all the things that we're good at. And the biggest thing that came away from that, not so much the win and qualification for the playoffs, was that's the Wimbledon we need to be. That's what we can do. And also we have some players that are fit, and we didn't slog Omar. We've actually managed to give Omar a little bit of a break, which is a godsend as well.
We had Jake Reeves back, of course.
Was he back? I didn't notice.
Yeah, he was. It's funny that. Strange how that happened. And just trying to think, who put the ball in for the winning goal? Who took the corner? Can't remember. But he's passed it and over the hill. It does help having numbers back. Marcus Brown, as you said, gives Omar a chance for a rest. Marcus Brown comes in, Hippolyte comes on the bench. Yeah. Joe Piggott and Foyo not in the squad, and I think that is telling in itself. I don't think we need
it was a strong bench though as well, wasn't it? It was a
yeah.
But you're right with the players that were missing as well. I think Joey Jackson's the first time he's had nobody injured. Hey, look, if you're gonna peak, if you're gonna have your team fit at the right time,
yeah,
is the right time, isn't it?
Yeah, and as we said before, this something about Brown or Hippolyte, it's just got this Mark de Boller moment just written all over it for me, especially as we go into these playoffs with nobody. I mean, Chesterfield, yeah, okay, fine, but Warsaw, ourselves, and Notts County, it's just nobody in form. There isn't a favourite, as far as we can see, and Chesterfield would be everyone's favourite. But we saw what happened to Doncaster last year, so it is.
Yeah, you're right. Chesterfield are one on form. They're not on breathtaking form. It's just the fact that they've put some wins together, and none of us have. I have to say, right, I love the playoffs. I love the cutthroat of it. I found it. I was laughing at Warsaw. Now, I know I shouldn't laugh at Warsaw, but how much the resolve they're going to have of being top of the league by miles going into the January window to be potentially promoted with a win they've not won many games, and then literally 6 minutes into injury. They were on the pitch, weren't they, waiting for the final score to come in from Bradford, and you just think that manager, if he gets them promoted, he would have done an amazing job, because how much of kicked in the teeth have they been this season?
It's like, after everything that's happened, like you say, to have finished your fixtures in the promotion places. It's like Manchester United when Man City won the league with the Aguero moment, wasn't it? Where,
that's right, up at Middlesbrough, wasn't it? I think I remember.
Sunderland? Yeah, it was up in that part of the world.
It was up north.
Yeah. Yeah, so again, and as you say, Stu, yeah, it's going to, what a turnaround that's got to be for morale for them, having finally won a game after however long it's been without one. But sorry, I've sort of skipped ahead there by referencing the playoffs. Still, little things about Grimsby I do want to, still mention. We talked about the squad rotation, slightly different midfield shape as well. I wanted to ask you about this one because we had Sam Hutchinson, Jake Reeves, who generally tend to sit a little bit deeper, and then Alistair Smith a little bit further forward. Normally we have one that sits deeper and two pushed forward.
Yeah.
But Jake Reeves seemed to be a little bit, was he the one that seemed to push himself a little bit further forward of the three?
Yeah, I quite liked it, to be honest with you. It was like having two holding midfielders, one to. I felt recently that we've struggled with kind of Maycock in there. I feel like we've played too direct, and like I said before, I just feel like we've not played the way to get the best out of him. And I think, don't get me wrong, I still think he's got a massive part to play in these playoffs, probably the home game rather than Notts County. But I like the two holding. Jake, did get forward. There were times when both of them sat and then allowed Ali Smith to go forward. I thought it worked really well because it gave us that shape, that stability. That actually, do you know what? If you're not going to, I felt we've been overloaded in midfield, and I never felt that we were that way at any point on Saturday.
And then the back three. The only reason I bring this one up is it height? Is it just height? Why Isaac has not been able to get his starting place back? Because as far as I'm aware, he didn't do anything wrong.
No.
But Riley Highbottle is the one that's being preferred at the moment. And hey, look, you can't argue with the quality of Riley Highbottle's performances, and he was unlucky not to be the one to score from the corner. His header comes off the bar. But do, do you think in the playoff situation now, where we have to go out and actually win these games, that we might need a little bit more attacking impetus, and Isaac is sometimes a little bit smarter going forward and supporting Josh Nerfield, because Josh, even though he sort of swapped, it looked like he swapped wings on Saturday for a time. Josh hasn't had the impact on games that he had done previously. Has he been left a little bit isolated? Maybe having Oggs in there might help him out a little bit more.
Yeah, hey, look, you're right. Oggs did nothing to lose his place.
Yeah.
Nothing from what I could see. I think he's probably been, in terms of like young player, yeah, I think he's probably been my shout. I think he's been excellent. From his wide, he's come in, and I think early on you could tell with the longer throw that helped us a little bit. We did become a little bit. We've done what we did last year with Barmer. We've come a little bit too reliant on the long throw. I think my gut thing is I think Riley's better defensively than Oggs. I think it's a great problem to have. I think it's good to know that we could probably swap them out quite comfortably and not lose anything. I think Josh has just been isolated. I think he's just been isolated. I think people realise that he's a big problem for us. But by keeping possession and doing all the right things, and obviously taking the lead, we'll get the best out of Josh Nerville. But Oz has done nothing wrong. But the good thing is it's a very strong bench. And I suppose it's the case at the moment. If you play well, you keep the shirt, which again is unfair on Oz because he'd done nothing to lose it initially. But I don't think there's much to choose from them. I think they just give you a little bit different elements.
We took loads of fans up to Grimsby. So I hope everyone, I say hope, everyone that travelled would have had a great trip and a memorable day. It's a funny one because the playoff started early, really, because it was a playoff game in my head, even though it's part of the regular season. It's always like for when you have a penalty shootout and it gets to 4-4, and then they both either miss or score their last penalty, and the commentators will go, "Oh, well, now it's sudden death." It was like, well, it was already sudden death. Right? Okay, so it does feel like this was already the playoffs ahead of time.
I think we're good in cup football as well. I think we've got a team suited to cup football.
See, that's interesting though, because although we showed it, we should have beaten Ipswich in normal time. If you remember in the League Cup, we shouldn't have gone to penalties in the end. And then we took Newcastle all the way. Dagenham and Redbridge was unfortunate that we lost to them in the FA Cup, but that's because they had two teams
who got relegated.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean,
where that
they sound like, didn't they have like some sort of ownership thing which the fans then protested and got it cancelled? There was all sorts of
American ownership thing, wasn't it?
Was it a Middle Eastern thing? I can't remember if it was like Egyptian. Yeah, something like that. And there was all sorts, but it just felt like when something like that happens so close to the end of the season, you start getting red flags, don't you, about a football club, and that's proved. I mean, it's only fair. They've got two teams. It's been ridiculous. They shouldn't have been allowed.
It's weird, isn't it? Because you look at established non-league teams or conference teams. So we still call it conference, the National League. Sorry.
Yeah.
You look at Dagenham Redbridge being one of those standouts. They've always, don't. It's like it's the equivalent of like Torquay United getting relegated out of the. Do you know what I mean? It's a big non-league club.
Well, it is. It is, but it's a funny one though, because like when was the merger? There was like 3 clubs that merged to form Dagenham and Redbridge. And it probably wasn't that long in, the grand scheme of things. I mean, if you think, going back however long, however old the earth is, but it's still a relatively young club, I think, as
I think
Redbridge.
I just don't think they've ever been in any. So they got promoted into the League Two, didn't they? We played them in League Two football.
Well, I think they went up to the 3rd tier at some point.
Possibly. Yeah. It just felt a bit of a shock, Don't get me wrong, the National League has been mad. National League South, anyone's playoffs, Dorking getting knocked out, Worthing. I think they all finished within like a point of each other or 2 points of each other. Mad. The playoffs are so much more cutthroat in non-league as we've always realised. Yeah, one game.
Yeah, one game. Yeah,
one game. Do you know what I mean? Like, at least if we shit the bed on Saturday, as long as we haven't lost by too many, we've got another chance. But we remember the days of cutthroat. Remember the days of Bromley and Wes Daly getting sent off and thinking we played 40 odd games and we've just thrown it away.
I don't know how we got there, actually. How did we end up at cup football? You were saying about cup football. Yes, sorry. Because I was going to say, it's funny, though, because this is what I was going to say, sorry, before. It's funny because the way we're set up, we're not... we're a team, like we've always said, that likes to play on the counter-attack and sort of grind out results. We're not ones to go on the front foot and go and beat teams. And I've always thought cup teams were more sort of, hey, look, okay, football has changed over the years. When I was younger, Tottenham were always considered a bit of a cup team. They'd always win the cup when the year ended, because they were attacking team. Manchester United, I mean, most famously, they were just teams that would just batter you because they'd just be attack. Well, we're not like that. We sort of try and stifle games or whatever and try and catch them on the break. And is that not a more of a risky strategy when it comes to knockout games, unless the plan is to draw everything and win on penalties?
Well, I think it goes on the beginning of the season where we were nicking goals. We were nicking. Matt Stevens was getting a goal here and there, wasn't he? And you sort of feel with us that we're not. Cup games sometimes can be end to end. I don't think we're ever going to get into that stage. And you sort of think if we're going to score a goal, we're going to probably. Like, I don't know about you, but watching the Grimsby game on Saturday, I didn't feel like we were going to concede a goal.
No, as soon as we scored, I turned around and I said, "Game over."
We've not kept many clean sheets recently. It just felt all of a sudden we just switched on. Don't get me wrong, it's one half out of probably 15 or 16 halves that we've had recently that have not been like that. But it gave me that confidence to think, do you know what, we're going to go into the playoffs not on form, because no one's on form. We looked at that with the how many games we've both won between us. That's Notts County, but I feel like with the players we've got come back, we can nick a goal, and we don't. Our shape looks better that way. So I just feel if we get a lead, we can probably see a lead out. Whereas recently we conceded loads of goals. Well, say loads of goals. For us, it feels like loads of goals. Our biggest defeat is 2-0. Yeah. It's ridiculous. 21 clean sheets from Owen Goodman, who got the golden gloves.
Yes.
You should do that, right? Where you win the golden gloves and then you wear them for the next season. Like you get the golden badge when you win the Premier League. Like you get the golden badge, don't you? Where you can wear the golden badge. I feel like it'd be like a little bit of a status. Maybe like the forwards who get the golden boot. Again, get a special golden boot.
Remember Soccer they called it the golden espadrille. I don't know. I can't remember why that was, to be honest with you.
But an interesting fact for you, by the way, we do have different badges for the playoffs. We have Sky Bet logos with playoffs on them. Just for your information. I'm saying it because I know you. You'll be like, why?
Why the fuck? Why? Is that a thing? I don't get it.
I know. It gives Rocket another job to do that. Do you know what I mean? So,
iron on some more badges because
I was thinking the other day, do we sort of like try and get the ones that we've ironed on off the actual shirts we've got, or do we get new shirts with new badges on? It's random. I'm going to ask Rocket when I see it.
And they say there's no money in the lower leagues.
Well, yeah, I don't know if we're going to sell. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to sell them in a club shop. But yeah.
You sent me something earlier.
If we win, we get a golden payoff badge.
Yeah, I know. We can wear that all next season. You sent me something earlier about the number of times each club has played in their first choice colours away from home this season, and we weighed in, however you want to phrase it, 23 league fixtures away from home this season. We wore blue 5 times.
Yeah, it's mad when you.
What a nonsense that is.
And did you see who the? I suppose it gives you an idea of who's got the kits that clash the most, possibly. Yeah. Although it doesn't really work that way because Chesterfield were the highest. I think they were in double figures.
Oh, really?
And they wear blue.
Yeah, well, isn't. Hey, would you look at that? Hey, right? I'm going to get your little graphic up now and let me see this. So the team that played most was actually, it was just 18. So they only changed 5 times.
Because I was trying to initially work out who it was. I'm like, it can't be Chelsea. They're not in our league yet. And then like sometimes you're like, who starts with C's like Crew Alexander and Carlisle? And I was like, oh, Chesterfield. why? And I'm not thinking they play in blue. We play in blue.
Yeah, and we've actually gone. I mean, there's some symmetry here because we changed 18 times and they didn't change 18 times. I mean, what can you? I just, I don't. If I speak, what's it that phrase? What did Maria say? If I speak, I'm in trouble.
I
But
think I'm with you sometimes. I want to see us playing blue. I was actually thinking today, what are we going to wear on Saturday? We're not going to wear blue there, are we? Because I
why
think,
not?
well, I just
We
don't.
did last season. We won when we won there 2-0 last season in the league. We played in blue.
I wonder if we played there in blue. The reason I was thinking was I was thinking, what shirt do I wear? Do I wear the home away or the third?
Well, but you're not playing, Stu, so I don't think it.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to need to call upon anybody in the 1,800 fans that are going up the motorway. But yeah, it's interesting. Hey, look, do you know what? I think from a commercial point of view, we sell a lot of shirts, don't we?
Yes.
It's really important that we sell because obviously revenue and stuff like that. So I think some of it is down to making sure all the shirts get a run out. Hey, look, we had the funny thing where Gillingham had to wear their third kit at home.
Yeah.
And then we had to wear our second kit. I don't know.
Colchester had to do the same.
Yeah, there's a lot more rules around it nowadays, but yeah, Chesterfield sort of broke the trend. You watch, if we get to Wembley, football gods don't listen to me, but if we got to Wembley and played Chesterfield, the irony would be they were playing away kit.
Well, yeah. Well, one of us would have to.
I know that'd be the irony, wouldn't it? Be like, who's going to win? Who get that? But yeah,
If I was a betting man, that would be the final that I would most expect to see at this moment in time. I would put money on seeing us versus Chesterfield as it stands. But for anyone listening that's thinking, what does it matter what colour we play in? Of course it fucking matters. That's why the seats in Plough Lane are the colours they are. Do you think we're going to go away to Milton Keynes and not play in blue and yellow? There would be outrage. Of course we do. Why? Because it's our colours, it's who we are, it's our tradition, it's our history. Our seats are not painted sky blue and brown, all right? They are painted blue and yellow because that's the colours that represent us. I don't understand why this is so difficult.
see, and this is why one of my mates sent me this stat because it knew it would rattle you. And I actually found it really funny, to be honest with you. It's some people have got a lot of time in their hands, haven't they? Do you know what I mean, to get these stats together.
Hey, look at. Do you know what? Fair play to the person that did though, because actually, I think it's one worth pointing out. Because really, again, it's just football being a con. Because there's no need for any more than 2 kits anyway. To be honest with you, it's just an excuse to make more money. Anyway, and make footballers a lot richer. Because as sure as hell, you and I aren't getting any richer off this, Stu, despite what some people might believe.
I know. I've seen new kits. New kits around next season.
Yeah, but who do we have? Lotto.
A lot of kits. A lot.
Very good.
Oh dear.
Dropping in more Soccer AM references, of course, it was a Lotto kit that you wore on your Soccer AM appearance, didn't it? Wasn't it, Stu, all those years ago?
Which I've absolutely got rinsed by the people that have seen it. Yeah. Do you know what? The weird thing is, right, when I've watched it, it feels like yesterday.
Yeah.
I can remember it really, really well. But I think I said to you before, like, someone kindly recorded the whole 4 hours. Remember, the Soccer AM used to be 4 hours on it.
Yeah.
And you look at some of the adverts that are there. You look at some of the references Soccer AM did. They would never get away with it now. But the funny thing is, I still laughed, even though I felt like I was bad for laughing because a lot of them are sexist. But football's changed in 25 years.
I'm not going to make any comments. Suffice to say, Stu, that do not panic because sexism is alive and well at AFC Wimbledon. It just sometimes gets aimed at the other gender. But I'm saying that's all I'm going to say.
But there's more. There's 2 genders.
There is now officially. It's been officially. It's officially in law now. There is only 2.
So this is when, like, I can imagine 25 years ago, someone said to me there was more than 2 genders. I'd have laughed and probably made a comment. Now I just stay quiet. It's easy. I don't get cancelled if I don't open my mouth.
Isn't that a sad state of affairs, though, Stu? Is it not? The world we live in. Anyway, where the hell have we gone with this podcast? We're all over the shop.
We are just in that sort of like end of season playoff mood, aren't we? Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't even review games because playoffs are a great thing. I do love playoffs, but yeah.
Torquay United, of course, did lose in the playoffs, and they are still in the National League South, as you referenced earlier, which is another Soccer AM reference as well. I think that perhaps why Torquay get so much coverage as they do. We will talk about we will just actually make some predictions for the playoffs. But Stu, we started this talking about kickoff times, and there's a survey. Sorry, I didn't really go into detail about this. Survey's been sent out to all Don's Trust members. In truth, the survey, it seems to be trying to. It's basically said games are going to be on Sky, so we can't do anything about it, but we can try and prove points about notice periods and things like that to try and make things a little bit easier for fans that travel to games and whatever. The survey feels rushed, I can't lie. The wording of it in places is poor, bordering on nonsensical. Although I did read an article on the official website this week that seemed to suggest that once Notts County tickets arrived, the club was going on sale. But hey. But yes, this survey, including a question. I'm all for sort of getting fans' opinions and things like this, but there was one question that I had to reference, which was: has the increased number of games on TV enabled you to attend fewer live games? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Enabled you to attend fewer live games. It's not something you want to be enabled in doing. You want to be able to attend live games, surely.
I think from what I saw of the survey, I think it's trying to put pressure on Sky to give more notice.
Yeah.
I don't think it's them going, can we cancel a deal? Because Sky would go, well, we've paid you well for it. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because they the start of the season, they gave a lot more notice. I think they put all the fixtures out up until November or something. And now they change it. Hey, look, John, I don't do away games, but I can see I think there was someone argued that it wasn't so much how much money have I lost by Sky moving the games. They said that there should have been a question about how much money have I lost by Sky not moving games, i.e., you can't book the 3 or 4 months in advance because the train was so expensive. And it was a good point. That's for me, I've not missed any home games because we've moved it to a 12:30. I think we had one game that moved to a Thursday. Am I right? Was that Gillingham? It moved over the Christmas period.
Yeah, Christmas period messed about completely with our.
So from home, I'm a home fan. I'm a glory hunter at home. None of the games have made me miss a game. It's just 12:30 is a bit more difficult. But if I was going to a lot more away games, I'd be pissed because it was just you can't book up in advance anymore, especially where we had. I think we all felt that the Doncaster game was going to be moved. That it was, but it wasn't moved from memory for 2-3 weeks.
Mm.
So anyone that's going to that game was all of a sudden, because we've got such an expensive rail system, everyone's obviously incurred a cost because of that. So I get it. Hey, look, my English isn't the best, so for me looking at the questions, probably not the best person to critique it. But I felt there's a lot of questions for really what the question is we need to have more notice.
I'm not sure if the kids outside, they sound like they're having a whale of a time, but they're also at times, I feel like they're being tortured with having to watch 101 great Liam Trotter moments. But it is great to hear kids out on the street and not in front of a screen, as if you ever hear them in front of a screen. But you know what I mean?
No. They seem to be enjoying themselves. I would go and join in, but I probably not knocking the football too hard and knocking one of them out.
In this day and age, Stu,
I'd encourage that, of course, but
no, but probably some people would think there'd be something. Yeah. Anyway, let's not go down that road. Recollections of Ricky Gervais in Afterlife coming to mind.
By the way, can I just say something? By the way, so if we do get to Wembley after the Saturday, so the Saturday Saturday 17th?
Yeah.
I actually will be playing on the pitch the day after in a walking football tournament.
Oh, is it at Wembley?
No, it's at Wimbledon.
Oh, right.
So okay. I would be probably one of the first people on the Hallow Turf if we qualify for Wembley. Yes, I'm going to play. I can't play football anymore, so I play walking. Walking is a festival of football that the foundation are doing on the 18th, and we're doing some celebrations with Wish, and we have entered as a team to play in the walking football tournament. So
nice. Yeah. Have you ever wondered what it'd be like to be Liam Trotter, walking football?
I'm hearing it's quite competitive.
I can imagine that, yeah.
Yeah, it's 8-a-side on that pitch.
Okay.
I'm just wondering, right, do goalkeepers get a special... Can you imagine, come on, keeper, come out, and he's walking. Come on, rush out.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, yeah. I would find that very. If I was a goalkeeper, I'd find that very difficult. But then
Yeah,
again, flip side of that is someone bearing down on goal in walking football is probably a lot different to someone bearing down on goal in normal football.
I've actually, do you know what? I've actually, obviously, since the years ago I've done my kiddies, I've actually always been interested in walking football, but it felt like you had to be old, proper old, to play it. And yeah, when we got the opportunity, I was like, yeah, I'll play that.
Okay, happy
So yeah.
days.
So yeah, I'm at Wimbledon. I'm at Wimbledon for 2 week, 2 days on the weekend next week. But hopefully, it will be a joyous occasion if we get through.
Yes, if we get to Wembley, which of course is on the bank holiday Monday, should we get there? Because in the old days, it used to be the second tier that had the bank holiday Monday, but now they've moved it so that has the Saturday, and we get moved to the bank holiday for whatever reason. Do I have any preference? Not really on that one, I must admit. I'm not going to say anything. We're going to preview the actual game in Notts County in depth in a moment. But Stu, before we do that, I talk about the internet and how it's ruined everything. But I was on it the other day. I was on Google. I searched for a lost medieval servant boy. It said this page cannot be found. My father was John Joe O'Toole. Make a cryptic clue once again at 9YRS Podcast on Nazi Twitter or on our website 9YRSpodcast.org, or just, text us if you get it from the cryptic clue. Sheep extracts oil. Sheep extracts oil.
It's got a connection with Notts County.
If it does, it's purely coincidental.
Sheep. I'm thinking someone Welsh. Michael Hughes.
He's Northern Irish.
Oh, yes, Kerry Hughes as well.
We finally got something to rival Turf Mill after all these years.
Do you know what? It's the Hughes that done me. Why is he from Northern Ireland if he's got a name of Hughes?
He was born in Northern Ireland,
I guess. Yeah, Kerry Hughes. Do you know what the funny thing was, right? I was going to say Vinnie Jones because he's adopted Welsh. I thought, no, I go for a more typical Welsh person, and then I got a Northern Irish guy.
Someone from Belfast.
You can tell my nerves are kicking in for the play.
For Wembley. Well, the second clue might put you out on this one. He scored on his debut for us in 2014.
Byron Harrison.
It's not Byron Harrison, I'm afraid. But you have one more guess. He was an unused sub at Wembley in 2016.
Wow. Who's unused substitute? Wembley. Tom Elliott.
I think he started.
Yeah, that's what worries me. I was trying to think who started. And you know what worries me? I actually was going through some of the footage the other day because we're obviously setting up the museum for the playoffs. Oh dear. No, I can't think.
No?
Who's on the bench? I know Will Nightingale was on the bench. I can't think.
Was he? Ryan Sweeney was.
Yeah, Will was on there because again, I was looking at footage and I saw him coming down. Maybe no, Joey. He might not have been a bench. He might not have been in the squad.
I don't think he was in the squad. I think
he got a medal.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, I got close to that one.
I will tell you now, Stu. It's former Oxford United winger that we signed in 2014. His name was Sean Rigg, and that is the answer to this week's My Father Was a John Joe O'Toole Maker. Sheep extracts oil. Sean the sheep extracts oil. You do that on an oil rig. Sean Rigg. So yeah, there you go. I have nothing else to add about that one.
No, that was a bit of a shit show, wasn't it? I can't believe I forgot. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh well, it's not a problem. Do you know what?
What?
Not even Sweeney was on the bench. I could have sworn Sweeney was on the bench. No, our bench. Okay, Tom Elliott did start. Famously, Connor Smith started.
Yes.
The bench obviously we know about Akinfenwa and Aziz because one won the penalty, the other one scored the penalty. Jonathan Meads came on as a substitute, and the other unused substitutes, James Shea.
Yes, of course.
But I mean, Sweeney started. That's why.
And James Shea, unfortunately, Luton got relegated.
And James Shea did, yes, he did get relegated with Luton. I'll come on to that one in a bit, actually, to mention that. Yeah, what am I thinking? It's amazing how you misremember things, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
Like Sweeney started because Paul Robinson was on the bench.
yeah. You
Sean
think,
Rigg was the other one.
yeah, you think Paul Robinson started, but obviously Darius did, didn't
Yeah, Darius and Sweeney. Oh, God, wow.
he?
Really
Yeah.
mad, isn't it? Okay, can you guess the seventh substitute? The seventh substitute was a film about a guy playing chess with death. Maybe.
I think the seventh subject. I can't think. Joe, I can't think too much from that season because obviously, no, I have no idea.
I can't wait to see your face in this one. Reese Murphy.
He's at Yeovil, I think, from memory.
Oh, is he? I wouldn't
Yeah,
know.
how's he still? Well, no, he can't be. He must have been in his late 20s when he. Yeah. Thing is, it's nearly like 10 years ago.
Scary where time goes, isn't it? I was just a wee 20-year-old at university.
Do you know what the funny thing of the playoffs again is not trying to tempt fate, but I just remember the excitement between us winning at Accrington and then the tickets being sold, like 20 odd thousand. You just wonder now how many we would take if we were lucky enough to get
more than that.
Remember at the time we were saying there's such interest in Wimbledon and not fair with the fans, but fans of who would come to a big occasion. But we've doubled our attendance since then. Yeah, wouldn't it be nice? It would be nice if we got to Wembley, but hey, we've got to do the job first.
Plymouth Argyle team that day featured Jake Jervis, Ben Purington, and Craig Tanner. Just throwing that one out there for those that could remember. Centre forward for them that day, Jamil Matt. Will he get back to Wembley this year? It's unlikely.
Wow.
Let's be honest. It's unlikely. And Peter Harvey was their centre half, but he was in a bit of a jam that day.
Joe, I wouldn't like to say I couldn't. It wouldn't shock me if Warsaw got through against Chesterfield.
Well, no, because it's a yeah. But if you were to put a bet on,
yeah, I thought you wouldn't put a bet on anything. I just don't think there's no logic. I think the thing in Warsaw is they've got the second leg advantage. And I said it at the time. I thought they were decent against us when we played them. I don't think they're a bad team. They just have no cutting edge.
Yeah.
That side of it. And hey, look, I don't care. I just want to get to Wembley. I don't care who gets through in the other semi-final. I just want us to get there. But yeah, it was. I just remember the fun of us having a shopping centre court, which is now the Wimbledon Quarter. And it was an exciting time, wasn't it, back then?
It will always be centre court to me, Stu.
Well, it just confuses people. We go, oh, I'm going to go to centre court. What? You're going to Wimbledon tennis? No, that was the shopping centre. It no longer is.
Jeff Norcott, guest of the podcast, Wimbledon fan, discusses centre court in his book, in his first book, and references, in his words, the new iconic statue that was going to accompany the new shopping centre in Wimbledon Town Centre, and how it's morphed. Because apparently he says when it first, and I don't remember this, but when it first arrived, it was actually christened Two Fat Lesbians.
I've heard that.
I've only ever known it as Two Fat Ladies, but yeah.
Do you know what's funny actually with women's tennis? I saw on Facebook someone asking for tickets for. I thought they were wind up initially. Apparently, Andy Murray is doing an evening with Wimbledon tennis. Sorry, at Wimbledon Theatre during the Wimbledon tennis fortnight.
That makes sense.
Oh my days! Like he's the most boring person ever. I hope they've got an energetic host because that could be interesting.
I would like to be there just to witness all the people that will attend that event making their way down from Wimbledon Village down the hill and getting their reaction. because as we all know, Wimbledon Village down to the end of Wimbledon Broadway are two very different worlds.
Yeah,
Very, very different.
different social classes.
Oh yes, I don't. I always feel very uncomfortable in Wimbledon Village. It's not my. It's not my ends. I don't.
No, I feel I have to pronounce my words better.
I just don't feel like I'm that sort of person. I think you have to be, sort of classy people, and deep down, I just don't think I am. I'm more of a Luton person, and that is a shithole.
Who will be gracing League One next season?
Yes, and can I just make a point about this one? No, can we quickly, sorry, let's just finish on Notts County very, very quickly before we come back to Luton. Yes, it is a playoff semi-final between two teams that have both won in the months of March, April, and May, 4 games each. Okay, these are teams not in good form. Notts County's 4 wins were against Grimsby and Harrogate. We share that with them. Their other 2 wins were against Newport County. Newport County is shit, and Milton Keynes, who are shitter. Our other 2 victories in that time were against Notts County, of course, and then relegated Carlisle. So it's like I said a few weeks ago on the podcast. Can we not just draw lots?
Yeah, it'll be cheaper.
Yeah,
It'll be cheaper, 20 quid. Actually, to be fair, the pricing's been very good. Notts County, 20 quid. More than enough. We're a bit more pricey. But then we're in London.
yeah, we've gone a bit very. We haven't really talked about the whole ticket buying process, have we? Really, we were gonna mention
No,
it, weren't we? But it's
been a
hard.
challenge. It's been a challenge for the club, let's be fair. Our ticket in the system we know isn't great. And it's been a challenge. Do you know what? I think the thing is, I think everyone's so excited and wants to secure their ticket. And the club have been trying desperately to keep on top of it with that demand. So, but hey, look, I think we've sorted it out. I think everyone's got wanted a ticket. Has got a ticket. Taking 850 people up to Nottingham tomorrow. I can't wait. It's my first away game of the season.
Is it really?
No, I've not done any other away games. No.
It's going to be interesting next season where we are, which division we're in, because both divisions still open up lots of possibilities for new stadiums. And if we don't get promoted, Stu, I still have to tick off Harrogate and Barrow, and there's a chance, which I imagine will happen, York, because they've got a new stadium coming up. But then in the third tier, I still haven't done. Who haven't I done? Lincoln, Blackpool, Wigan. So there's a few. There's a few.
Yeah.
I'm already, though, Stu, I must admit, I already have plans in place. Getting away tickets is getting trickier. It never used to be a problem being a Wimbledon fan. Never, ever had any issues getting away tickets. It's going to get slightly trickier. So, yeah, my plans are already in place for Kenilworth Road next season.
What's interesting as well is that the irony will be we will get promoted when League Two is probably going to be the most southern-based league. We've all moaned at literally like the teams that have come down, Bristol Rovers, Cambridge, and Barnet coming up. So we're likely to have a bit more of a southern league. And you watch, we'll get promoted, and League One looks a northern league next year. Not that I would ever moan about some of the clubs that could come down to us if we were fortunate enough to get into League One. But yeah, the irony.
I mentioned Luton there just very, very quickly. I just want to make this point because lots of people saying, and I think it was Curtis Davis on the TV saying it's a disgrace how Luton have gone through. People have not understood how Luton massively overreached themselves to get to the Premier League. The squad, as it is, was never one. If you look at their squad, there was one that was never going to do anything in the second tier this season, and added probably with the come down, having been relegated, and possibly not quite having the quality of players needed against clubs that probably gave them more respect because of being in the Premier League. It was a combination of circumstances. But I feel like this has to be said, Stu, because we've praised Luton in the past because of their ownership model, and I've made the very point that they are a fan-owned club. We profess ourselves to be a fan-owned club. We are a trust-owned club. Luton Town are owned by supporters who put their own money in, and they have continued to manage that club fantastically well. That consecutive relegations, is not going to be an issue for them. They are on a very solid financial footing. They have not spent money that they did not have. They were very prudent with their budgeting, and they've got the new stadium works underway. So all of this hyperbole talk about consecutive relegations as if they're the first club to ever do it, it just shows you that private owners who are sensible and understand risk and reward and manage their finances can keep you afloat and stable and sustainable.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah, I remember their finances. I think we all said that when they got promoted, they were guaranteed £100 million, even though they didn't win a game all that season.
Yeah.
They didn't spend. If looking at their wages that they have, I think they were the lowest wages in the English Premier League. Probably the same in League One. They've obviously put quite a lot of money behind for the stadium. That club would be better for being in the Premier League than a lot of other clubs. Look at clubs like Huddersfield and stuff like that who were just bottlenecking.
Yeah.
No, I think Luton, and I can imagine Luton fans are probably gutted that they got double relegation, but when they move into a new stadium and they won't be having any debt, I think they would be better for it over a period of time. But yeah, the only thing I was saying, I don't know if Luton have picked up any Premier League fans because they might have gone to Kenilworth Road and thought, are they really in Premier League? But if they had, they might be the ones that are struggling to understand what's happened. But yeah, no, yeah. They've done well. But there's so many clubs in that league. Championship is a hell of a league. But yeah, no, good luck to Luton. They'll be a force in League One, and hopefully we might welcome them to Plough Lane.
That would be a great occasion, should it come to pass next
season. And they'll probably pay more. Probably pay more getting into Plough Lane than they would have gone in the Premier League.
I know I am. Hey. Oh well, it is what it is. Prediction for Notts County? Scoreline prediction?
0-0.
Yep, same. Done. 23 times in our 46 league games this season, it was 0-0 at half time. 50% of our games have been 0-0 at half time. If you were late pretty much all the time, you missed absolutely nothing, to be honest with you, the majority of times. So, hey.
But you know what? I think for us, a 0-0 is a great result. Hey, look, don't get me wrong, a 4-5-0 win there is an even better result. But a 0-0 would put it in our hands for the home leg.
Yes, just anyone with PTSD, don't worry. A 0-0 is still a good result. I know semi-finals at Leicester, semi-finals at Spurs, for us of a certain generation, but do not panic. Plus, there's no away goals rule anymore, so we can't be done on that one. Yeah. Thank the Lord for that one. Anyway, updates will be on Nazi Twitter at 9Wires Podcast, as if you're going to be following on Twitter, because everyone's going to be watching it one way or another, aren't they? Let's be honest. Unless you have some prior engagement that you're like sat. I remember once, I can't remember where it was, but I was sat watching Warhorse up in town and trying to get scores of wherever we were at the time, which was not a fun occasion. Many years ago, in my journalism days, I was at a conference reporting on a conference of the private hire industry.
Lovely.
Whilst the games were going on, not able to check scores. So, maybe if I'd have had Nazi Twitter back then, I'd have been able not only to keep up the scores, but also contribute to the fascist takeover of the West. But anyway.
Well, tomorrow I have a lovely doubleheader. I'm off to Orient versus Stockport in the afternoon on the 12:30. Another 12:30 kick-off TV. Very kindly got tickets for that, and then we are travelling up to Nottingham. So if I'm yawning, everyone sees me and I'm yawning about 8 o'clock, probably because I've been on the road for like 12 hours. But yeah, I'm looking forward to going to a playoff where I can get to enjoy the fans' panic and anxiety, enjoy it, and then obviously before I experience it.
Two clubs, of course, that promoted in the last 2 seasons from the 4th tier, now aiming for promotion into the 2nd tier, which is when I first saw Stockport County against Wimbledon back in the early 2000s when I was 10 years old.
Looking forward to it. Orient sold out. I've not been there for a long while, so yeah, I'm looking forward to going as a neutral. But yeah, I love player football, so I'm looking forward to seeing. Hopefully, Jack Curry and Daniel Adjei will do well for us, ex-players.
I believe the last time that you went to Leyton Orient was the season we got promoted.
Definitely a 1-1 draw, I think, from memory.
Yeah, in the watermelon kit. Yeah, because obviously Leyton Orient away playing in all red, we need to change for some absurd reason. But we did, and we got a 1-1 draw, but we did end up getting promoted that season, so who knows? Maybe there is an omen in there. We shall see. But anyway, that's enough for us for this week. Stu, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody, for listening and putting up with our ranting this week, or particularly mine. We shall, we'll sign off. Alexa Bliss, bag first, milk last, 2 + 2 = 4. We shall speak to you again ahead of the 2nd leg next week.
Happy days.